Alrighty, everybody, thanks for tuning in again. This is James Cards FC. Today we're going to be talking about a short-term investing topic, and this one is going to be a theory surrounding this little story I'm going to tell for you guys, and it's called the casino versus the gambler. Which will you be? So we'll go ahead and get started on this one. Very important disclaimer, not financial advice, my own personal opinions. I encourage you to challenge me on these and do your own research as well. I don't think I own any of the cards we'll be discussing here, but I'll leave that in there just in case. English is my main language. Any typos or mispronunciations are because I'm a dumb American. Past prices and general information on this topic could change dramatically by the time you see this video. We are looking at a snapshot in time, so things can obviously change. And again, please do your own additional research. I don't think I'll be talking too much about these things in today's video. This is more of a theory-based video, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, I will move myself up here, and we'll make myself a little bit smaller today to give us some room. Okay, today's discussion. When talking about short-term investing, I separate market participants into two groups. One, there are gamblers, and these players in the market buy slabs in the hopes of seeing a return based off player performance in the short term. And number two is the casino. These people buy cards months in advance, usually a raw, to later sell to a gambler. So a common thread here of what this looks like is the casino buys this card raw, this Pedri Topps Chrome Sapphire. They send it to grading. They receive the card back graded. They then sell it to a gambler on eBay, and then the gambler goes and sells it to another gambler either on eBay or at a card show or however else they end up moving the card to its next destination along the line. So let's talk about this theory. So think of the 2022 World Cup as an upcoming casino game. Gamblers need chips in the form of slabs of players to participate in this game, and the casino needs to supply them. So, in this case, the gambler wants to buy chips of their preferred bets before the tournament to participate in this game, and they hope that their bets will cash and they will then be able to make strong returns on their gambles that they have made. The casino, in this case, wants to supply gamblers with the chips that they can use to play the game, and they don't want to take on the risk of playing the game themselves, but rather capitalize on charging gamblers to play the game. So, if we look at a more defined version of this theory, Pedri will likely be one of the most popular players in the hobby at the 2022 World Cup. So, in this case, the gambler wants to buy Pedri slabs before the tournament to play the World Cup game with Pedri chips. They hope Pedri will perform amazing, and they will be able to make a strong return. That is their hope in this scenario. The casino, on the other hand, theorizes months in advance that Pedri will be one of the most popular players at the 2022 World Cup, and they know people will want his chips to play in the World Cup game. So the casino buys Pedri cards raw, grades them, and then sells them to gamblers that want to play the game. So same theory as we saw in the first slide. The casino buys this card raw, they then send it to grading, they receive the card back, they sell it to a gambler, and the gambler gets to play this 2022 World Cup game with their chips or slabs that they bought. So disadvantages and risks of both positions in this case, or both roles, I guess would be a better definition. Both the casino and the gambler are attempting to make money in this scenario, and they are both taking on different kinds of disadvantages and risks. So the gambler has the risk of the player not performing to expectations, which would result their gamble to be a bad one and they lose money, or they also take a risk of a general market downturn in the short time in which they buy the chips or slabs to play the game with. So those are the two obvious risks they're taking there. The casino is taking on a lot more upfront risk here. They're taking on a risk that the raw card they buy is going to be ungradable, and then they'll have to sell it probably for less than what they originally bought it for. They take a risk on the card receiving an unfair grade, in their opinion, from PSA. So they send it thinking it should get a 10 and it gets an 8 or a 9. They take money risk there. My dog is getting really excited about this little scenario we're going through. Where was I? Casino. They also take on the risks of missing the selling window while the card is at grading. So you send something to PSA in the hopes that you'll have it back for the World Cup, but there's an unexpected backlog or PSA shuts down and your card is stuck there. So you completely miss the window, and that's a risk you're going to have to live with. You also have the risk of the player falling out of favor by the time the card is back. Pedri could get injured and out for the World Cup by the time you get your card back, and your value is going to be a lot less. You have a risk of a general market downturn by the time your card is back. Self-explanatory. And you also have the disadvantage of not getting to enjoy the thrill of playing the 2022 World Cup game, which is sad because a lot of people are going to be having fun with this game while you're sitting on the sidelines having already sold all of your chips. So the advantages to both sides, both the casino and the gambler, again, are attempting to make money, and they have different advantages. The gambler has the advantage of getting to enjoy the thrill of playing the 2022 World Cup game. They have chips. They have some skin in the game. They get to participate in all the conversations online talking about the chips and slabs that they're holding, so they get to have all this fun while the casino is sitting on the sides having already sold everything. The gambler is also able to capitalize on what could be the greatest returns almost instantly. This is a hope that they have, is that during the World Cup, the player will reach their highest of highs in terms of pricing, and they would be able to act on those returns almost instantly and sell out of that position, whereas the casino has sold a long time ago, and they never had this opportunity to immediately move something because it was in the process of being graded or was sold before. So that's an advantage that the gambler has there as well. And they also know what they're buying condition-wise, so there's no chance of an immediate loss, whereas the casino is taking on a risk on the front end if they buy raw cards and they're not in good enough condition to grade, or that they grade a grade that they didn't determine or thought they were going to get. So those are the advantages of the gambler in this scenario. And the casino, on the other hand, has the potential to have a massive return on raw to grade margins. Normally buying a card raw, if you get it in, at least back in the old days, if you got it in PSA 9 condition, you made a little bit of money. If you got it in PSA 10 condition, you 3 or 4 extra money. In more modern times, it's probably something more like if you get a PSA 9, you're going to break even, whereas on a PSA 10, you might make a 2x return. It just depends on the card, so you're going to have to do your own research on that end. But those are the potential margins that are out there if you do the raw to grade game. Cashing in during the pre-tournament hype phase is also an advantage. This is likely, as we've seen before in other videos, this is likely the best time to be selling, and you'd be cashing in what is commonly the best time to be selling your cards. So on to the last point here, which is much less dependent on player performance. You are selling before the games are actually played, so you're not taking on any of the back-end risk there associated with the player not performing to expectations, or they meet their expectations and the money still isn't there. So yeah, a lot less risk with the performance side of things. Here's my advice for both. For gamblers, I've said this before, but I really think you should be targeting players with low expectations. They will cost you much less, and you'll usually see a much higher percentage increases, but you'll also be less likely to hit on them. So there's a give and take there, but in my opinion, I would be targeting players with lower expectations. Point number 2 here, don't get greedy if you see a big return. This is important. We see it all the time. A card 2 or 3 X's, and then 2 or 3 X's during the course of a tournament. And then as the tournament ends, or they get knocked out in the next round or something like that, their prices return to their pre-tournament highs or go below their pre-tournament highs. So if you do hit on any of your bets, I would cash them out as soon as you reach a return that you feel is good. When it goes up 2 or 3x, it's probably a good time to get out and not hope for a 6x rather than it going right back down. So personal opinion, don't be greedy, take your returns. And the third point here is understand that in effect you are paying a premium for the thrill of participating in the game, so enjoy it. This comes into my theory with pre-tournament hype. Some of the reason people are playing these high prices is because they want to play this game, and so just understand that you are probably going to be paying a premium just for the fact that other people want to be playing this game as well. So on the casino side, the advice I give, it would be to plan far ahead and target the obvious players that people want to invest for in the game. So Pedri, an obvious one, Pulisic. We talk about the same guys all the time, right? Those kind of guys: Pedri, Pulisic, Neymar, Mbappe. Take your list of the most obvious hobby guys there are. I would be targeting them for this casino process of trying to supply people with those chips for the tournament. Third point here, understand the grading process. If you don't know how to grade cards or you've never submitted before, there's a ton of great content out there on YouTube on how to do these different things. So look into that if you don't already know about grading. If you're planning on being a casino, this is a must do. You're going to have to understand how this works end to end and how you're going to be able to manage your margins in that part of the casino lifespan. So last point here is that you also need to understand that there will be cases in which you miss out on high pointing the market. If a guy you supply chips for, we'll say Pedri, for example, he has high expectations for this tournament, but if he ends up being the best player of the tournament and leads France to a World Cup, his prices will probably be higher than they were in the pre-tournament hype phase, just based on exceeding expectations, even if they are large. So you could miss out in a case like that on high pointing the market, but in the long run, you are much better off selling in the pre-tournament hype phase than trying to hold through it. So quick little conclusion here. There are advantages and disadvantages to both roles, and you could always play on both sides. You could even be a casino that gambles as well by selling off some of your positions and then holding the other chips for yourself to play the game. I think that's actually a pretty common method that people use, but yeah, so disadvantages, advantages to both roles. You can play both sides and understand how these roles affect the market and how you can use your understanding of this theory to reach your market goals, whatever they may be. Understand that there are gamblers out there that are wanting chips to play these games, and there are needs for casinos to supply people with those chips to gamble with. So short video today, just a theory-based one. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a little sneak peek, I guess, at one of my thoughts on the market and how I see different things playing out. So again, if you'd like more general theory content like this, it's not too hard to put together, and I appreciate you guys tuning into it. Leave me a comment what you think about this. Subscribe for more. Oh, one more thing before I forget. Today, at time of recording, which is probably a few days before I release this, we just passed 100 subscribers, which yeah, I honestly don't even know what to say about it. 100 subscribers really doesn't seem like a lot, especially when you look out there and see channels that have thousands and thousands. But the fact that 100 plus of you guys tune into my videos and appreciate the content, it means a lot. I could have just been posting things into the YouTube abyss with 1, 2, or 3 views, all being myself. But you guys seem to really like this content, and I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to enjoy the content that I'm producing. So only upwards from here. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I will see you in the next video.